Hello everyone, welcome back to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to see about the part 5 of the chapter Organism and Population. If you like this video and get some help, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. So we have always known about कि human एक social animal है and humans cannot live alone. Similarly, there are many more animals, there are many more plants which cannot live alone and they need someone's interaction. So वो nature में एक ऐसी चीज़ बनाई गई है that there is no such natural habitat on earth जहाँ पे एक ही single species है and it doesn't interact with any other one. And it is very important that every population interacts with each other and that would give them the different kinds of help that they need. So even it might be a single autotrophic organism like a plant. Even a plant cannot live alone, उसको बहुत सारे other populations पे depend करना पड़ता है. Like a plant can depend upon some microbes which is going to help in the decomposition so that the inorganic nutrient requirement can be fulfilled. Similarly, humans will also depend on some domestic animals for their food or for their income source or even for entertainment purposes or for companies like in the case of dogs and cats. So likewise, even each and every animal or each and every population needs to interact with some other population. So the interaction between the two or other different species, so like for example the lion is interacting with deer या एक monkey है वो अपने दूसरे ही monkey species के साथ interact कर रहा है. So once there is interaction between two or more than two species, it is called as interspecific interactions, and these interspecific interactions can be of three types. So majorly it can be a beneficial interaction, यानी दोनों species को उससे फ़ायदा होगा and they would be enjoying those interactions. Second can be a detrimental or a negative interaction जहाँ पे one of the population is going to be harmed for the benefit of other population. या फिर थर्ड हो सकता है that neither the population one is benefited, neither the second one is harmed. So neither harm होगा ना ही benefit होगा, it will be neutral, they will just stay together. So that is going to be the neutral interaction. So based on these kinds of interaction, that is either positive, negative or neutral, we are going to see some combinations that occur in nature naturally. So the types of interaction, these are going to be 7 types of interaction that we are going to study. यानी दोनों species का अगर फ़ायदा हो रहा है, both are benefited in the interaction, you represented by a positive sign, यानी दोनों को उससे फ़ायदा हो रहा है, they are getting benefit out of it. Such is going to be called an interaction of mutualism. There are different combinations that we are going to study in detail one by one. So the interactions we will be studying are going to be about mutualism, जहाँ पे दोनों का फायदा होगा. Similar kind of is a proto-corporation. So what is a difference between those two we will understand in detail. Then the one getting benefit, one is not at all affected out of it, is commensalism. Then is competition where both are harmed. Then prediction, one is benefited, one is harmed. Parasitism is also the similar case, और जहाँ पे एक का नुकसान होगा और एक को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, that is going to be Amensalism. So these are the interactions we will be studying in detail in one by one slides. So the first we see is a mutualism wherein both the species A and species B, both are going to get benefit out of it, and this benefit or this mutualism is going to be in such a way that जब दो species interact करेंगी, when both will be interacting, there is going to be a obligatory association. Obligatory, that means it is a compulsory association. Without it their life cycle और या उनको बाकी के जो चीज़ें हैं वो complete नहीं हो पाएगी. That is a obligatory association, and these organisms will not able to live if they are separated. That means they cannot live if they are separated from each other. So one important thing to remember about mutualism, that is it is a obligatory association, and second one, that is they cannot live if they are separated. So this is going to help you to differentiate between the two beneficiary interactions, that is mutualism and Protocooperation. So mutualism you can see in the case of plant and fungal mutualism. So these are the two examples that we will be seeing जो होते हैं between plant and fungal associations. So plant and fungus you can have, that is a association called as lichen. So lichen may there is going to be a mutualistic relationship which is going to occur between a fungi and a photosynthetic green algae या फिर एक साइनोबैक्टीरिया भी हो सकता है. सो वन दीज टू आर गोइंग टू लिव टुगेदर, द algal part यानी जो photosynthetic part है, it will be called as a phycobiont which is going to produce food because the photosynthetic part it has green pigment chlorophyll, so it can produce food through the process of photosynthesis, whereas the fungal part it is going to be called as a mycobiont. सो वो क्या करेगा, वो सारे न्यूट्रिएंट्स को अब्सॉर्ब करेगा बिकॉज फंगसेस कैन हैव लॉन्ग राइजोइड्स विच कैन गो डीप एंड फाइंड न्यूट्रिशन. सो न्यूट्रिशन फाइंड कौन करेगा, फंगी फाइंड करेगा, एंड algal part is going to produce food and they both will be living together. And since their work has been divided, if you separate तो फंगस को फूड नहीं मिलेगा एंड इट विल डाई, एंड इफ algal is not getting nutrients तो फूड कैसे बनाएगा. So it is very important that this lichen, that is the both interacting species, should be together so that they can live, and if separated they would die. So that is about mutualism. Second plant fungal relationship आता है, that is going to be in mycorrhiza, जो association होगा between the fungus and the roots of higher plants. So the fungus is going to absorb the essential nutrients, और जो roots of the plant होगा or the higher plant, it is going to give energy in the sort of carbohydrates. So एक nutrients ला के देगा और उसके बदले में carbohydrates के रूप में energy will be provided to the fungus. So it is a give and take relationship between the mutualism. वैसे ही द म्यूचुअलिज्म कैन ऑल्सो बी सीन इन द केस ऑफ प्लांट एनिमल. जैसे हमने प्लांट फंगस देखा, सिमिलरली यू कैन ऑल्सो हैव प्लांट एनिमल म्यूचुअलिज्म वेर इन द प्लांट्स नीड एनिमल्स सो दैट दे कैन हैव पॉलिनेशन विच विल बी कॉल्ड एज जूफिली, या फिर प्लांट्स को लगता है एनिमल्स फॉर डिस्पर्शन ऑफ द सीड्स, that will be called as jujori. So plants, as they are non-motile, that animals are going to be motile. For that reason they need these animals help so that their functions can be done. And in respect कि अगर वो उनका काम कर रहे हैं उनको कोई एक तोहफा देना पड़ेगा, so the plants will be providing sort of nectar or pollen grains for the pollinators, so who will be doing the work of pollination, और जो seed dispersal में help करेंगे they would be getting juicy nutrient foods for the seed dispersals. So likewise there will be also a relationship between plants and animals, and often it is going to be a co-evolution, यानी अगर plant अपने pollination के तरीके change करता है, then even the insect or the animal which is going to help in pollination should also change and evolve into the type that the plant is undergoing. So whenever there is a co-evolution, you need to understand the definition, which is going to be saying that it is an evolutionary mechanism wherein the change of biological object is going to change the trigger in the related object. So अगर plant में कोई change है तो insect change करेगा. If insect or the pollinator is getting changed, then the plant needs to change and evolve, and that would be called as co-evolution. So one example of that where plant and animal are related is going to be the fig and the fig wasp. So जो गीला अंजीर होता है, that अंजीर is going to be using the fig wasp, the female of the wasp, for the pollination purpose. So female wasp जब आएगी वहाँ पे for the oviposition, so the fig is going to provide the place for the female wasp to lay eggs, and this oviposition, that is to lay eggs, egg will be laid over here, that is oviposition. So eggs को एक develop करने के लिए जगह मिल गई, it is a safe place, and once the developing eggs are being positioned over there, the female wasp, while going from one place to another in search of suitable place for laying down the eggs, उस time पे the pollination of the fig inflorescence will be done, and that would be helping the plant by pollination. और जो wasp होगा उसको return में क्या मिलेगा? A suitable place where the eggs can be laid safely. So second example है that is going to be between orchids and bees. So orchids में what is going to be done is orchids will be having their pollination through attracting the right pollinator insect. So it can be either bees or bumblebees, and they will be developing and they would be evolved in a much more higher manner. And we will see that now, that how orchids have been so developed, that what sort of rewards do they provide to their pollinators. So orchids जो होते हैं, these orchids are not going to offer their rewards like the figs is providing. So fig ने क्या दिया था? Fig का जो plant था उसने उसको oviposition के लिए जगह दी थी, so that the wasp can lay their eggs in a safe position. Whereas you can go for other plants, other flowers जो होंगे जिनको pollination करवाना होगा, वो pollinators को क्या देंगे? It can either give pollen or it can give nectar. But in the case of orchids may the plant is going to give the sexual dialect, and this sexual dialect means there is a type of orchid that is a Mediterranean orchid which is going to give the sexual dialect, यानी वो अपने flower के एक petal को ऐसा change करेगा that it will start to resemble to the female of the bee, and it will be so similar that in size, in color and even in markings the male bee will get confused. और मेल बी को ऐसे लगेगा कि वहाँ पे एक फीमेल बैठी है, and it will try to go near to that female, and during that process the pollen grains are going to stick onto the male bee or the male bumblebee, और उस टाइम पे pollination हो जाएगा. So the process by which the male is attracted towards that female, resembling female, will be called as pseudo copulation. So what is orchids going to provide? Orchids are going to provide the sexual dialect. They will be having sexual dialect जिसकी वजह से male bees या male bumble bees will be attracted for the purpose of pseudo copulation. And once the same bee is going to pseudo-copulate onto some other flower, there will be completion of pollination. So herein also there is going to be a significance of co-evolution कि अगर बम्बल बी में या हनी बी में फीमेल्स में कोई चेंजेस आते हैं, if female is changing from brown color to red color, तो जो success of pollination है वो कम हो जाएगा, because now the male knows that the female is no longer in brown color, she has turned into red. So the flower का जो petal है वो अगर brown color में ही रहेगा, so male will not get attracted. So for that reason, as the female bee is going to change its morphology, even the orchid's flower need to change its petals resemblance, so that they can have their pseudo copulation done, and indirectly the pollination will be completed. So that is also a very important point to remember about co-evolution. So next category of interactions we see is going to be protocooperation. So यहाँ पे क्या होगा? Protocooperation में the species both will be benefited, so that is not an issue. But what is the big main important thing that you need to remember? Mutualism, maybe both species are going to be benefited, but what is the difference between the first and the second interaction? First interaction mutualism में हमने देखा था that the two species are going to have obligatory relationship, and if they are separated they will not be able to live without each other. So protocooperation में क्या होगा? Again there is going to be association between two species, but in here even if both are getting benefit in the presence of one another, they can equally live well without the association. This part is very important to be remembered कि अगर उनको separate भी कर दिया, there is no effect on their individual life. अगर म्यूचुअलिज्म में सेपरेट कर दिया तो वो दोनों एक दूसरे के बिना नहीं रह पाएंगे, बट प्रोटो कॉपरेशन में अगर उन दोनों को सेपरेट कर दिया बट स्टिल दे कैन लिव. So examples of protocooperation you can see in the case of animals, that is red-billed oxpecker and yellow-billed oxpecker. These are the two birds. These two birds are going to be sitting on the back of the black rhinoceros, सो एग्जैक्टली कौन से दो स्पीशीज है? स्पीशीज ऑफ टू बर्ड्स एंड वन ब्लैक राइनोसोरस. सो राइनोसोरस और ये रेड या येलो बिल्ड ऑक्सपेकर में एक ऐसा रिलेशन होगा that birds as sitting onto the back of the rhinoceros, they can fly enough faster and reach out to longer distances. वो birds rhinoceros को warn करेंगे for the approaching danger, and the rhinoceros is going to provide a good tool towards all over the places because they would be sitting onto the rhinoceros, and it will also provide some food of worms या insects जो rhinoceros के body पे होंगे. So likewise both will be benefited, but if they are separated उन दोनों को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. The second example is going to be between a crocodile bird and the second, that is crocodile itself. So crocodile bird जो होगा वो crocodile के मुंह के अंदर जाके parasite leeches को खाएगा, so that the bird is going to get food and the crocodile will get rid of the blood sucking parasites. So here both are getting benefit. Crocodiles को वो blood sucking parasites से मुक्ति मिलेगी and the bird is going to get its food. The third is going to be an example for sea anemone and the hermit crab. So sea anemone जो होता है वो hermit crab के shell के ऊपर जाके attach हो जाएगा, and the sea anemone, since it is going to be a nematocyst having organism, so उसके पास protection के लिए nematocysts होंगे. So what are nematocysts? You very well know from the animal kingdom. So animal kingdom के videos भी we have covered onto this channel. You can surely go and revise that as well. So nematocysts होने की वजह से sea anemone is going to protect the hermit crab from its predators, और anemone को in return में क्या मिलेगा? It will get the food pieces that the crab has been dropping, and it will be carried to new places as it is going to move around. So sea anemone protection provide करेगा और hermit crab उसको खाना और अलग अलग जगहों पे सैर कराने के लिए लेकर जाएगा. So that is going to be the relationship between the Protocooperation. So coming to the third relationship, that is going to be Commensalism, जहाँ पे एक species benefit होगी और जो species benefit होगी you would be calling that species as commensal, और दूसरी जो species होगी उसे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. It will neither be harmed, it will neither be benefited, and that species will be called as host. So such 3-4 examples we are going to see जहाँ पे एक का फायदा होगा that is commensal और दूसरे को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा that is host. So the one first example we see wherein the commensal is going to be the epiphytes, जहाँ पे epiphytes का फायदा कैसे होगा? By getting shelter from the host, और host कौन है यहाँ पे? The host is going to be the mango tree. So mango tree के ऊपर या branches के ऊपर these epiphytes are going to come and these will be getting their shelter, and that would be benefit for the epiphytes. But mango tree shelter देके उसे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. It is neither getting benefit out of epiphytes और ना ही harm हो रहा है because these are not absorbing any sort of nutrition. So that is going to be first example for commensalism. Second example होगा of barnacles. Barnacles जो होते हैं these are going to get benefit. So this is the species of commensal and it will be growing onto the back of whale. So जो blue whale होगी या great whale होगी, it will be your होस्ट जो उसको शेल्टर के फॉर्म में हेल्प करेगी. सो बार्निकल्स विल बी हैविंग द बेनिफिट ऑफ शेल्टर एंड द व्हेल इज अनअफेक्टेड. द नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल इज ऑफ क्लाउन फिश. सो क्लाउन फिश जो होता है उसका बेनिफिट होगा और उसका जो होस्ट है, होस्ट कौन है? होस्ट इज गोइंग टू बी द sea anemone. So sea anemone का example we have also seen in the case of Protocooperation, that was living with the hermit crab. So hermit crab और sea anemone का अगर example आएगा then that is going to be for Protocooperation. But if your exam is asking you sea anemone and clownfish, then it will be an example of Commensalism. So this is going to be a very important question कि आपको confusion हो सकता है that sea anemone with clownfish is commensalism and sea anemone with hermit crab is of Protocooperation. सो क्लाउन फिश जो होगी उसको बेनिफिट मिलेगा इन द प्लेस कि इट विल गेट प्रोटेक्शन फ्रॉम द प्रेडेटर्स, बिकॉज सी एनिमोन के पास स्टिंगिंग टेंटैकल्स होते हैं, जिसकी वजह से द क्लाउन फिश इज गोइंग टू गेट बेनिफिट कि अगर बाकी कोई प्रेडेटर्स है, बिग फिशेस है, वो उनके पास नहीं आएंगे बिकॉज दे आर गोइंग टू बी स्टिंगिंग टेंटैकल्स, जो बड़े फिशेस को मार के दे विल गेट प्रोटेक्शन. The fourth is going to be between the cattle agates. So these cattle agates are again the commensal getting benefit, and they will be foraging very close to the cattle. So जो cattle होगी it will be the host, उसे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. And these cattle as they are grazing, वो जब घास उखाड़ती है for eating it, during that time the soil is getting loose enough, and as the soil gets loose enough, all the insects will be coming out of the soil, and these insects will be eaten by the birds. So you must have always seen one or two birds which are going to stay around the cattle and the buffaloes. So these birds are nothing but the agate birds which are going to eat the loose insects जो cattle अपनी घास खाने के बाद बाहर आ जाते हैं. So this is going to be the four examples that are being asked for the Commensalism association. फोर्थ होगा अबाउट कंपटीशन, जहाँ पे दोनों भी स्पीशीज का नुकसान होगा, एंड बिटवीन दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द ऑर्गेनिजम्स हु विल बी स्ट्राइविंग फॉर द सेम रिसोर्स. For example, if a person needs a medical college seat, तो मेडिकल कॉलेज सीट पाने के लिए all the people are fighting, all the NEET aspirants are fighting for that one seat. So what is it going to be? एक सीट है और एक सीट के पीछे इतने सारे लोग झगड़ रहे हैं, so that they can be competing over each other, and the fittest of it is going to go and sit onto that place. So that is nothing but the story of competition, and when the competition is going to be between the same species में हो रहा है, then in that case it will be called as intraspecific competition. So this example of NEET aspirants to find out onto the same seat will be a intraspecific competition. Why? Because you are going to be all the same category students, all will be NEET aspirants fighting for the same seat. So they, in real life, when the species are fighting for food, for space, light, water and shelter, or even for mate, that is going to be intraspecific competition. बट वंस देर इज गोइंग टू बी स्पीशीज चेंज, कि दो या तीन स्पीशीज एक चीज़ के लिए झगड़ने लगे हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एक रेलवे स्टेशन है, रेलवे स्टेशन के ऊपर एक बेंच पे ऑलरेडी टू पीपल आर सिटिंग, राइट, वो टू पीपल आर सिटिंग, एंड नाउ दैट वन प्लेस हैज़ बीन लेफ्ट आउट. अब एक जगह बची है, एक इंसान खड़ा है, and there is one dog is standing over there fighting for its place. So हो सकता है that now, for example, I am telling you, so if the person wants to go and sit over here, and even the dog or some other species wants to go and sit over here, what is going to be that case? That case is going to be of interspecific competition. So अगर आप herbivores की बात करोगे कि एक लैंड है, एक लैंड के ऊपर बहुत सारी घास लगी हुई है, एंड इन दैट ग्रास देर आर गोइंग टू बी मेनी एनिमल, से वहाँ पे आके रैबिट खाना चाहता है, वहाँ पे गोट आना चाहती है, शीप आना चाहती है, कैटल है, बफेलो है, ऑल दीज डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ स्पीशीज वांट्स टू कम एंड ग्रेज ऑन टू दैट ग्रेजिंग लैंड. So that will be nothing but an interspecific competition. So Darwin had spoke about कि competition में कौन जीतेगा? It will be only a person who is going to be the survival of the fittest. जो भी उसको बहुत अच्छे से पार कर जाएगा, who will be the fittest is going to be the winner of that competition. And for that, what do you need? You need interspecific competition. So during the competition there are going to be two things that will be occurring. First जो होता है, it will be called as competition exclusion. So as the name is going to suggest you that when two closely related species will be competing for the same resource, and if they cannot be coexisting, यानी वो एक दूसरे में कोई mutual understanding करके, if they are not agreeing on to some terms and condition, and still they want to compete for the same resource, then the person who is inferior will be eventually eliminated. So हो सकता है कि आपके दो फ्रेंड्स हैं, एक फ्रेंड ए okay, and the second person is B. Both are fighting for that one seat. And what is the competition? Fighting for the seat. एक इंसान को मिल गए 680 marks, एक को मिल गए 540 marks. And what is the weaker one? Who is the inferior one? Inferior one is the person who got less marks. So यहाँ पे seat किसको मिलेगी? Who will be getting that resource? The person who is higher, who is superior. So 680 marks superior वाले को वो seat मिल जाएगी. The one who did not get superior marks, who was inferior, got excluded to go into that college. So similar thing happens in competition exclusion कि जो superior होगा, who is the fittest, is going to be surviving, and the one who is not, who is inferior, it will get eliminated. So this was also the principle of Gauss. So Gauss एक person था who had given this principle of competition exclusion. So first is going to be the examples of two bacteria. एक bacteria होगा that is Paramecium caudatum, and second one is going to be Paramecium aurelia. ये दो species है, both are going to be from the same genera. So these are going to be closely related species, and these closely related species, if they are kept alone, एक एक को petri dish में रखा है and both are going to be grown individually. So you can see over here how the graphs are going to be different. First species अकेले को grow किया, they are growing very well. Second species को अकेले grow किया, they are growing very well. But once they are placed onto the same culture dish, and once they both are living together, what is going to happen? The Paramecium aurelia, यानी जो superior one है, it is going to show rapid growth. Rapid growth कौन दिखाएगा? Paramecium aurelia is going to show rapid growth, and Paramecium caudatum तो उसको exclude कर दिया जाएगा because it was not superior, it was inferior, it could not survive between the competition of the two species of Paramecium. So Paramecium aurelia survive कर जाएगा, and you can see in the graph as well the Paramecium aurelia, the green one, how the graph increased in population, जबकि Paramecium caudatum का population decrease हो गया as the time went by. So the second example we see is about the introduction of goats. को एक अगर Galapagos Island में goats को introduce किया गया, so since goats were better browsers, the abundant tortoise. So tortoise is a slow animal, उसको धीरे धीरे खाने की आदत है, धीरे धीरे चलता है. So it is not able to get feed because goats are heavy grazers, वो बहुत जल्दी जल्दी घास उखा के खा सकती है. And because of that, the tortoise could not get its feed, or even it was slower in the reproduction, metabolism, हर चीज़ में slow है as compared to the goat. So goat का population बढ़ने लगा, goat were being superior than the tortoise, so tortoise were getting lower in their population. Third था the example about the rocky coasts of Scotland. So Scotland में क्या हुआ था? Scotland में there were barnacles. Two barnacles were present, and one of the barnacle which was superior. So superior वाले का नाम था Balanus, who was dominating the intertidal area, और जो smaller वाला था, it was the inferior one, and that inferior one barnacle was excluded. उसकी population को बहुत ज़्यादा कम कर दिया गया because it could not survive under that competition. So here are some photographs that will also help you to remember about these as per the photographic memory. So that was the first thing जो लोगों को लगा था कि competition में जो सबसे ज़्यादा healthy होगा, सबसे ज़्यादा fit होगा, वो ही जीतेगा, बाकी के सारे exclude कर दिए जाएंगे. But always it is not necessary that one who is not fit will be excluded. यानी अब तक तो ऐसे होता कि humans are considered to be most advanced, right? उनको सबसे ज़्यादा advanced माना जाता है. तो it could be possible that only humans were surviving onto the earth. So only on earth humans होते थे, but ऐसे नहीं है. There are many other species as well who are going to survive onto the earth because another some kind of people understood कि competition में हमेशा एक species eliminate हो जाए ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है. there is going to be competition coexistence as well. So there is no point कि अगर एक species competition face करते time अगर वो अपने आप को वो competition में fail कर देती है, then it is going to get excluded. Instead of that, it is going to promote the coexistence value. So this coexistence was the second process of thought कि अगर एक एलिमिनेट हो जाएगा तो अब तक तो बाकी सब मर जाने चाहिए थे, and as the evolution went on, the rest of the species which were behind the evolution line could have been died. So अर्थ पे सिर्फ एक ही species होनी चाहिए थे which was dominant, but it did not happen because the coexistence mechanism also functions as per the competition exclusion. So दोनों भी चीज़ें simultaneously चलती रहेंगी. So one of the mechanism जो coexistence को promote करता है, that is going to be resource partitioning. What is resource partitioning? यानी अगर कोई पिज़्ज़ा खाना चाहता है, okay, you go and eat pizza, I'll go and try some burgers. So that means you are getting your resource partitioned, right? You are not fighting for the same pizza. So you can also remember it likewise कि there are many students who have passed 12th, right? 12th class pass कर लिया है, and these are not only going for NEET exam. नीट एग्जाम में सिर्फ कंपटीशन नहीं कर रहे हैं, दे आर ऑल्सो गोइंग फॉर से दे आर गोइंग फॉर जेई एग्जाम, they are going for commerce, they are going for arts. So there are many things that people are undergoing, and these are all under competition. But what are these doing? They are selecting their branches, and they are indirectly competing कि उनको भी लाइफ में आगे जाना है. दे डू वांट टू गो गेट फर्दर जॉब्स एंड एवरीथिंग, बट उनका फील्ड अलग अलग है. दे आर डूइंग रिसोर्स पार्टिशनिंग. और समटाइम्स इन एनिमल्स देयर कैन बी इवन different kinds of foraging patterns. So based on that, there are going to be two examples that I will be sharing over here. The first one is going to be between the five closely related species of warblers. So warblers एक bird का type है which were living onto the same areas, and the story you can understand it likewise कि ये पांचे भाई थे, right? These you can consider as five brothers, and they had one single tree, right? उनके पापा ने उनके लिए सिर्फ एक पेड़ छोड़ के गए, and these had a habit that now we have only this one tree. What could have happened as per competition exclusion? हो सकता था कि एक भाई झगड़ता था और बाकी चारों को बोलता था आई एम द एल्डर वन, आई विल बी द ओनली ओनर ऑफ दैट ट्री, ओनली आई विल बी ईटिंग ऑन टू दैट ट्री, अदर फोर विल बी थ्रोन आउट ऑफ दैट ट्री. हो सकता था एज बॉलीवुड मूवीज एक बड़े भाई ने जगह कैप्चर कर ली, छोटे भाई को प्रॉपर्टी से बाहर फेंक दिया. सो इट कुड हैव बीन एज पर द कॉम्पिटिशन एक्सक्लूजन. बट वॉट हैपेंड ड्यूरिंग द केस ऑफ वार्बलर्स? इट हैपेंड दैट दीज हैड अ म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड दे took the part in resource partitioning. हमारे पास एक ही ट्री है, okay, what we will do? We will use it by its height. सो व्हाट डू दे डू? उन्होंने एक भाई ने यानी एक स्पीशीज ने सबसे ऊपर वाला पार्ट ले लिया. सो आई विल बी फीडिंग, आई विल बी कंटिन्यूइंग माई फैमिली ऑन टू द मोस्ट अपर मोस्ट पार्ट ऑफ द ट्री. सेकेंड स्पीशीज ने बोला ओके आई विल टेक द लोअर वन. आफ्टर दैट थर्ड वाले ने उसके और भी नीचे का पार्ट ले लिया. Then the fourth one thought, okay, I'll take the lower more, and finally the rest of the part of the tree was taken by the next species. So likewise एक ही tree को उन्होंने अलग अलग sections में divide करके they changed their foraging pattern, and now all the five species are going to survive onto the same tree without being excluded or eliminated from the world. So that is the example of warblers. So it is not always important कि अगर एक जीतता है तो दूसरा हारना ही चाहिए. Even the competition coexistence is occurring into the nature. So this can also help you to learn a life lesson that if you don't get a seat, there are many more options, and those options are available. Instead of going for that one seat, go and search for more, or do mutual understanding as the case of warblers. Second example है about Darwin, who had found out that there were 14 species of finches. So finches are also again a type of bird जो Galapagos Islands पे मिलते हैं. Galapagos Islands पे ये जो finches थे, these small birds, they used to all have same feeding habits. सेम फीडिंग हैबिट्स थे, सब एक जैसे दिखते थे, बट व्हाट हैपेंड एज द रिसोर्सेज वर गेटिंग लिमिटेड, हो सकता था that these could not survive because the resources were getting distributed among all these birds. So what the evolution took them to, what did they do? They changed ki okay, I was eating only seeds, now let me try another food. I'll not eat seeds, I'll go and try some berries. So उसने सीड खाना छोड़ के बेरी खाना शुरू कर दिया. एंड एज देयर वर चेंजेस ऑन टू द बीक पैटर्न्स, सो फिंचेस में क्या चेंज हुआ, फिंचेस में बीक्स चेंज हो गए, एंड एज द बीक्स चेंज द फीडिंग हैबिट्स ऑफ द फिंचेस चेंज, एंड एज द फीडिंग हैबिट्स चेंज व्हाट हैपेंड, उनको अपने अपने हिसाब से दे वर बीन एबल टू गेट देयर रिसोर्सेज, दे कुड लिव ऑन टू देयर फीड हैबिट्स, and that gave them the coexistence कि even having 14 species now they can coexist onto the Galapagos island. So these are the two things कि एक तो आप एक ही रिसोर्स है उसी को पार्टीशन करके you can survive, or you can try some new lines, you can try some new areas and can have their coexistence. So that was about our one of the association, that is competition. So not always here both will be harm, यानी एक को वो जगह छोड़ के कहीं और जाके सेटल होने की कष्ट लेने पड़ेंगे, but still it can be managed under the competition coexistence. Not always in competition exclusion की तरह हमेशा eliminate नहीं होगा. The next of the association we see is about predators. So predations में the one who is getting benefit out of it is going to be called as a predator, और predators जो होते हैं you very know well from the lower classes as well कि वो generally larger animals होते हैं, and the one who is getting harmed out of it will be called as prey. So predator और prey के बीच में there is going to be a natural way which is going to help in transferring energy from the plants, that is the base level. So base level से higher level तक, higher trophic levels पे energy transfer करने के लिए predation is going to be very important. So here are some photographs, you can very well understand from the photographs कि कौन predator है और कौन prey है. So predators I will try to mark over here. So यहाँ पे कौन है, यहाँ पे cat predator है and the mouse is going to be your prey, whereas the grass is going to be prey and your predator is going to be the goat. Bear is going to be the predator and the fish is being preyed. So as per that you can always understand that who is the predator and who is getting preyed. So role of predators क्या है, why even after this evolution, why the predators are still existing? Reason is one that these are going to help in transfer of energies, यानी प्लांट से प्लांट जो है, प्लांट को अगर प्रे बनाया डियर ने, then the deer is going to get energy, and if the deer is being killed by the lion, then lion is going to get the energy. So energy to transfer hona hai from the lowermost base to the uppermost, that is going to be occurring only because of the predators. So the next point is about keeping the prey population under control. Now this is very important. For example, if you consider कि हमने ऐसे सोचा कि lions जो है या जो higher top more carnivores हैं, these are eating deers, और deers जो है उसकी population कम हो रही है, right? So lion को अगर हमने ख़त्म कर दिया, what will happen? The deer population will start to increase, and when deer population starts to increase, तब क्या होगा? The deer will be grazing on more plants. So more and more plants will be taken away और plant population कम होना शुरू हो जाएगा. So what is the loss of it? कि अगर हमने सबसे बड़े carnivore को ख़त्म कर दिया, that is if the levels of your eating है उसमें से टॉप मोस्ट प्रीडेटर को हमने ख़त्म कर दिया, लायन की पॉपुलेशन गायब, ऐसे समझो पूरे के पूरे जग भर के सारे लायंस ख़त्म हो गए. व्हाट विल बी हैपनिंग? उनका जो प्रे है, जो लायन जिसको खाता था, उनकी पॉपुलेशन बढ़ जाएगी. सो इन केस योर डियर की पॉपुलेशन बढ़ जाएगी एंड द डियर जिसको प्रे करता था उसकी पॉपुलेशन कम हो जाएगी. सो वंस द लायंस हैव बीन रिड्यूस्ड इन द levels, the plants will also lose their values onto the earth, and deer will be increasing and increasing, or that will be a very harmful case onto the nature. So for that reason it is very important कि अगर lion present है तो deer भी रहेगा, और in a way plants will also be protected so that there is not much more grazing occurring. So one example is going to be of prickly pear cactus. So prickly pear cactus को introduce किया था into Australia, and they thought that it grows very well, और ये तो बहुत फटाफट ग्रो होता है, वेजिटेशन बहुत अच्छी हो जाएगी इनटू ऑस्ट्रेलिया. सो दे ब्रॉट एंड दे स्प्रेडेड ऑन टू अ बिग रेंज लैंड so that everyone can graze onto it. And what happened, since it was a prickly pear, वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा thorns थे onto this cactus, there were no one who could graze onto it, and it had a very fast moving life cycle कि वो बहुत जल्दी जल्दी अलग अलग जगहों पे spread होते थे, and because of that it was being a very harmful, a very havoc task, that all these are spreading onto very fast. So what could be done? There was introduction of the natural cactus feeding predator. So cactus prey ban gaya tha, and the predator had been introduced onto that land, which was a moth जो ये cactus को खाती थी, and that way the cactus population was kept under control. So second example we see is going to be about biological pest control. So biological pest control में you are going to spray some other things, or you can also keep ladybugs, या you can keep mosquitoes को prevent करने के लिए gambusia fish होती है. So we have also discussed this in one of the chapters, so I would be describing down into the link, so you can go and search about it as well. जहाँ पे biological pest control, you don't need to spread some insecticides, weedicides, आप बस उसके natural predator को वहाँ पे लाकर छोड़ दो, and that will be controlling and regulating the prey population. So that is also used in organic farming. Organic farming में these are going to be using these kinds of techniques कि natural predator को छोड़ दो, and finally your prey, your thing which is destroying the crop will be under control. Third role of predators होता है, that is going to be maintaining species diversity. So this is also going to be one of the advantages of predators. So predators होने का क्या advantage है? This is going to be the advantage that is of species diversity. So species diversity कैसे maintain होगी? That during the rocky intertidal communities of the Pacific coast, वहाँ पे एक starfish था which is going to be a important predator. So when all the starfish were imagined, और एक एक्सपेरिमेंट में सारे स्टारफिश को ख़त्म कर दिया गया, और जब सारे स्टारफिश गायब हो गए, व्हाट वाज डन, ऑल द स्टारफिश गायब हो गए, तो स्टारफिश के जो प्रे थे, all those invertebrates had also become extinct, because starfish, जैसे I told you the example of lion, deer and plants, कि हमने सबसे बड़े प्रेडेटर को ख़त्म कर दिया, हमने लायन को ख़त्म कर दिया, वैसे ही यहाँ पे starfish को ख़त्म कर दिया. So the lower one who was getting preyed was also eating on someone, because the food chain goes on. So because of that, the lowermost species of invertebrates became extinct within a year. So it is very important कि अगर आपका highermost predator जिंदा है, then your deer population as well as plant population will be kept under control, and there would be species maintenance. So diversity maintain रहेगी, क्योंकि अगर lion खत्म हो गए, so one species gone, deer की population बढ़ गई, and plants died. So now after the death of lions, how many species are left with you? You have only a lot many deers. So species diversity नहीं है, but if lions are kept or the starfish are kept, you have starfish, you have their lower food chain as well as the lowermost invertebrates as well. So that is going to be the advantage of predators to maintain the species diversity. So as we saw about कि अगर हमने predators को रखा, that is going to help in species diversity. So nature में ऐसे भी हो सकता था कि once the topmost predator is being kept alive, ऑल द रेस्ट ऑफ द प्रेज आर गेटिंग किल्ड। सो हो सकता था कि अगर आपने लायंस को रखा है तो लायंस ने सारे डियर को ख़त्म कर दिया और डियर की पॉपुलेशन ख़त्म हो गई। So it could have been a possible case, but it doesn't occur in nature. Why? Because the lion, the predator, is going to be prudent. What is the meaning of prudent? वो एक ही साथ अपने सारे प्रे को नहीं खाएगा. It will be eating one by one. So अगर उसको आज एक डियर की ज़रूरत है तो वो उसको एक ही किल करेगा. एक साथ 10 किल करके वेस्ट करके पॉपुलेशन को डिस्टर्ब नहीं करेगा. So that means when the predators are going to be in nature, they are going to be very efficient predators, कि वो ज़्यादा ओवर एक्सप्लॉइट नहीं करेंगे. That even I am the top most predator, I can kill at a time hundreds of deers, but still it will not kill 100 all the population of deers, because अगर उसने आज अपनी mighty power दिखा दी कि अगर आज मैंने 100 deers kill कर दिए, what will happen? नेक्स्ट डे हो सकता है कि वो जो डियर पॉपुलेशन जिसको मारा था कल रात को, वो तो हम खा नहीं पाए, वो तो सड़ के सब खराब हो गया. एक हफ्ते बाद डियर ही नहीं बचा है. So what will happen? Next day there won't be any food left for the mighty predator. So it should not happen that the prey becomes extinct and finally the predator is dying out of starving. So that is not going to be the case, जिसकी वजह से the predator are called prudent, कि वो आज एक डियर को मारेंगे, उसे फिनिश करेंगे. Till the time they kill the next one, the population will be, stabilized, so that there is no extinction of the prey, and even the predator will be getting food as he needs further in his life. So that is one thing that you need to understand about predators. The next point you need to understand is about the evolution which will be taken care by the prey. तो अभी तक जो हमने देखा that was with the angle of the predators, but what will be the prey doing? prey में भी कुछ changes होते होंगे that will be helping it to keep the predators away, क्योंकि कोई ऐसे तो चाहेगा नहीं. कोई छोटा सा बच्चा है जो हमेशा बड़े लोगों से मार खाता है, वो छोटा बच्चा भी अपना दिमाग ट्राई करेगा that how it will be surviving out of that मार खाने से. So the animals are going to undergo some evolution. So there are 4 evolutionary things that can be seen. The first one is going to be about camouflage. So animals क्या करेंगे, अपने आप को ऐसे ढक लेंगे नेचर में कि predators easily उन्हें डिटेक्ट ना कर पाए. So there are many frogs, there are many different kinds of snakes which are going to allow their self to be camouflaging, कि वो अपने सराउंडिंग्स में ऐसे अपने आप को ऐसे मिक्स एंड मैच कर लेंगे कि आप उन्हें पता ही नहीं कर पाओगे that animal is actually present over there. So here we are going to see one example. So the first image that we see, there is going to be a frog which is getting camouflaged. So you cannot observe the frog very easily. So उस condition में क्या होगा, as the predator cannot see the frog will be saving his life and will be avoiding to get the prey. So that is going to be the first mechanism जो animals use करते हैं to avoid the easy detection. Second चीज़ वो कर सकते हैं, that is they can release some chemical substances, and these chemical substances will help them to keep their predators away. So one example is about monarch butterfly. So this is the monarch butterfly which is going to be having the poisonous substance which it gets from its any growth stage पे. जब वो caterpillar stage पे थी, वहाँ पे जो plants होते थे वो plants में एक poison, एक toxic substance होता था. It was distasteful, and because it was distasteful, the birds will not be eating monarch butterfly. So in a way it is going to save its life. The third can be done is mimicry. So mimicry यानी it will be resembling itself as one organism and onto the natural objects. So for example here you can see the example of grasshopper. So यहाँ पे एक grasshopper है और ये grasshopper एक पत्ते जैसे दिखने की कोशिश कर रहा है, so that the predator thinks that it is just a leaf and it will go away. So that is the thing of mimicry. So यहाँ पे एक चीज़ और समझनी है that one who is mimicking, यानी जो अभी for example here the grasshopper क्या कर रहा है, grasshopper is going to mimic to be like a leaf. So the grasshopper who is trying to resemble someone will be called as a mimic, and one who is being showpieced, like it is be calling as the object. So object जिसे copy हो रहा है, that is the leaf in that case, will be called as a model. So this is going to be a very important point. जो चीज़ या जो mimicry subject है, that subject over here is going to be a grasshopper. So उसे बोलेंगे हम mimic, और जो object, for example the leaf, who is getting copied is going to be the model. So that is the important points to remember about mimicry. फोर्थ चीज़ एनिमल्स कर सकते हैं, दैट इज़ दे कैन गिव वार्निंग कलरेशंस. वो अलग अलग कलर्स शो कर सकते हैं. दे कैन इंक्रीज इन देयर साइज. दे कैन इवन शेड आउट देयर थॉर्न्स. जैसे प्रोक्यूपाइन है, प्रोक्यूपाइन अपने प्रीडेटर को देख के इट रिलीजेस स्पाइन्स ऑफ हिज बॉडी. सो जहाँ से वो प्रीडेटर भाग जाएगा और उसकी जान बच जाएगी. इवन समटाइम्स ऑक्टोपस इज गोइंग टू स्प्रेड दैट ब्लैक इंक, सो दैट वो जब ब्लैक इंक स्प्रेड होगी प्रीडेटर उसे देख नहीं पाएगा एंड द ऑक्टोपस कैन फ्लाई अवे फ्रॉम दैट प्लेस. सो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी वन थिंग अबाउट वार्निंग colorations. That was about animals that we saw. Even plants are going to get prey. जैसे herbivores जो होते हैं, herbivores plants को खा लेते हैं. So even plants are going to develop some techniques कि वो अपने आप को बचा ले. So plants are going to have their morphological or chemical defenses. That way the herbivore predators are going to be not eating them. So majorly 25% of the insects, which are called as phagocytos, will be eating the plant sap and other parts of the plant. So उसे बचाने के लिए there are many different things that the plants will be undergoing. So plants हो सकता है कि presence of thorns दिखाए ताकि वो कोई आके उसे खाए नहीं. So that is going to be a morphological defense. Then presence of different kinds of toxics or poisonous chemicals, these are going to be helping the plants like calotropis. So calotropis को कोई glazer आके खाएगा नहीं because it is going to be toxic, and that will be helping the plant to grow onto its natural way. Sometimes there are many other chemicals like nicotine, caffeine, then other chemicals जो humans ने आजकल commercially produce करना शुरू किए हैं, but naturally these chemicals were made for defense purposes, so that other grazers or other browsers will not be using and killing those plants for their grazing purposes. So उस चीज़ के लिए ये सारे chemicals plants बनाता है, and plants are not making this nicotine, caffeine and opium for the purpose of commercialization in humans. So that is the way that how plants are going to be dealing with their predators. नेक्स्ट जो एक एसोसिएशन देखा जाएगा दैट विल बी द पैरासिटिज्म, वेर इन इट विल बी अ कंडीशन जहाँ पे एक का फ़ायदा हो रहा है एंड वन हु इज़ गेटिंग बेनिफिट इज़ गोइंग टू बी कॉल्ड एज अ पैरासाइट, जो वो सारा न्यूट्रिशन डिराइव करेगा या देयर माइट बी बेनिफिट आउट ऑफ दैट, और जिसका नुकसान हो रहा है, द नुकसान जिसका होगा उसे बोला जाएगा host. So parasite and the host, it is going to be a very host specific, यानी पैरासाइट जो है वो अपने आप को ऐसे चेंज कर लेगा कि जैसे होस्ट से वो कभी दूर ना हो. So the both parasite and the host are also tend to co-evolve, and this co-evolution is going to keep the parasite alive so that it can be staying with the host for its nutrients. So there are going to be two types of parasites. हो सकता है एक parasite है ectoparasites, that means it will be feeding onto the external surface. For example ticks of human. So लाइस जो होते हैं, बालों में जो चूहे हो जाते हैं, वो लाइस जो होंगे वो अपना ब्लड सक करेंगे एंड दे वुड बी डिराइविंग द न्यूट्रिशन. सो वहाँ पे ह्यूमन का तो नुकसान हो रहा है बिकॉज द ब्लड इज बीन कंज्यूम्ड बाय द लाइस, जबकि लाइस का फ़ायदा हो रहा है बिकॉज लाइस इज गेटिंग न्यूट्रिएंट्स. सेम वे जैसे ह्यूमन्स में लाइस होते हैं, डॉग्स में टिक्स होते हैं, एंड मरीन फिशेस पे कोपिपॉइड्स होते हैं, एंड द कस्कुटा विल बी ऑन द हेज प्लांट्स. So Cuscuta is an example for plant parasite, and other ones will be the insect parasites. So these are ectoparasites because they will be on the external surface. अगर parasites अंदर जाके रहना शुरू करते हैं inside the body, then what will be that case? That is an example of endoparasites, and they would be also specializing themselves because body के अंदर रहना है, so they need to have very simplified morphology and anatomical features and complex reproduction, so that वहाँ पे वो अपने आप को ऐसे चेंज कर सके, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई इंसान को इवॉल्व करता है and if it is going to change its digestive juices, so as तक what would happen, the roundworms or the endoparasites could live onto the digestive changes, but जैसे ही parasite का change हो जाएगा, then it would not be able to live and it will be killed inside the body. So as the human or the host is going to change itself, the endoparasites will also change. So that is nothing but co-evolution. So one more kind of parasitism is going to be that is called as brood parasitism. So brood parasitism a kind of parasitism है wherein there is going to be the case of birds. So birds may generally it is going to be for laying the eggs in the nest. So cuckoo bird जो होता है it is a parasite because the cuckoo bird is going to lay its egg in the crow's nest. तो क्रो अपना पूरा नेस्ट बनाएगा, क्रो आके वो नेस्ट में सारी अपने अंडे रखेगा, तो यहाँ पे आके बैठा है क्रो, और क्रो जो है दिस क्रो इज गोइंग टू फीड ऑन टू इट्स बेबीज। सो उसके जो बच्चे हैं, क्रो के जो अंडे हैं, वो क्रो के अंडे को हैच करके फीड करेगा, सो इट इज़ ओके। बट इफ द कुकू इज कमिंग एंड दिस कुकू इज गोइंग टू कीप हर एग्स, सो व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन, कुकू के अंडे को भी ये क्रो को फीड करना पड़ेगा। सो इन दैट केस व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन, the cuckoo is going to fly away, she will be all independent, but who is taking care of the egg and who is taking care of the new hatched chick? The crow is going to take care. So likewise it is a kind of parasitism जहाँ पे the parasite that is the cuckoo bird वो अपने आप को ऐसे ढाल लेगी that it will be resembling to the host's egg, यानी कुकू बर्ड के अंडे ऐसे कलर के हो जाएंगे जो होस्ट के अंडों जैसे लगने लगेंगे। तो अगर क्रो के अंडे वाइट कलर के हैं तो कुकू के अंडे भी वाइट कलर के होंगे। क्रो के अंडे पीले हो गए, कुकू ने अपने अंडे पीले कर लिए, सो दैट देयर इज नो डिफ्रेंसिएशन एंड द होस्ट डजेंट डिटेक्ट द फॉरेन एग्स, और जिसकी वजह से वो रिजेक्ट नहीं करेगा एंड इट विल बी गेटिंग इट्स न्यूट्रिशन, इट विल बी गेटिंग इट्स केयर फ्रॉम द क्रोज nest. So that is one of the parasitism that is called as brood parasitism. So you might also think the parasites जैसे we studied about lice and ticks, so lice and ticks blood पीते हैं, वैसे even mosquitoes are the ones who drink human blood. So you might think that even mosquitoes are going to be parasites, but it is not the case. जो parasites होते हैं they are going to spread a lot amount of time onto your host body. सो लीस लाइस या टिक्स होते हैं वो ऐसे नहीं होता है कि एक मिनट आए और अगले मिनट चले गए, बट मस्कीटोज लाइक द फीमेल मॉस्किटोज दीज आर ओनली गोइंग टू नीड आवर ब्लड फॉर द ब्लड प्रोटीन्स। सो वो मॉस्किटो जो आएंगे वो बस थोड़े टाइम के लिए आएंगे, जस्ट फॉर 5-10 seconds, suck the blood and they will go away. They will not be staying and they will not attach onto your body to continuously suck blood. So for that reason these are not called as parasites. So mosquito, even though it is going to suck your blood, so mosquito is not a parasite, and the reason has been very well explained to you कि parasites जो ticks and leaves होते हैं all these are going to stick onto the body, या फिर एंडोपैरासाइट्स जैसे राउंड वर्म्स है, टेप वर्म है, वो बहुत दिनों तक बहुत सालों तक होस्ट के अंदर पड़े हुए रहेंगे, but mosquitoes will just come for 5-10 seconds and go away. That makes them not coming under the category of parasites. The last kind of association we are going to see is about Amensalism. So this interaction is going to be between the two organisms coming from the two different species, जहाँ पे एक का नुकसान होगा और एक का कोई benefit या कोई harm नहीं होगा. So the one who is inhibiting the growth of other will be called as a mensal. So जिसका भी नुकसान हो रहा है, नुकसान होने वाले का नाम क्या होगा, नुकसान वाले का नाम होगा अमेंसल. So here are some examples that will be helping you to understand the relationship between the organisms undergoing amensalism. So एक example है about penicillin. So penicillin, who is a fungus, will be secreting some substances called as penicillin जो बाकी के bacteria को grow करने से रोकेगा. So this penicillin is going to be your the species which is going to be least affected, whereas the other bacteria will be under the case of harm. So वो bacteria grow कर नहीं पाएंगे जब तक penicillin वो territory में है because of secretion of penicillin. So this was also used in the formation of antibiotics. So antibiotics का यही एक principle है that as you eat penicillin, other bacteria into your body who are causing harm will not be able to grow onto that area, because penicillin का क्या function है, they have a relationship of amensalism. So that's why antibiotics will be working very well onto the different kinds of bacteria. Second example है about streptomyces. So streptomyces is also going to secrete kinds of chemicals जो other bacteria को grow करने से रोकेंगे. Again it will be used in the formation of antibiotic drugs. The third one is going to be about the roots of black walnut. So black walnut के जो roots है, it is going to be least affected the species, and it will be secreting the chemical which will be toxic to the rest of the plants. So rest of the plants like apple or alfalfa grass जो होती है वो उसे उगने नहीं देगा, and that will be coming under the amensal category of organisms. So अगर एक black walnut का tree है, so as you can see over here, this tree is of black walnut. So black walnut के tree के आसपास you will not be able to find any other kind of grass या कोई other plant आपको नहीं मिलेगा, because it will be secreting a toxic substance जो competition reduce करने के लिए होगा. Why competition will be reduced? Because if there is no other plant nearby, what will happen? Nutrients हो या water हो, उसके competition में उसे participate नहीं करना पड़ेगा. All the water and nutrition around this tree will be used only by the black walnut. So for that reason these chemicals will be released. Last example is going to be about a flower that is called as bindweed or morning glory. So morning glory एक ऐसी flower है which will be inhibiting the growth of wheat. So inhibit growth of wheat, so it is a weed, वो नहीं चाहिए. So farmers are going to keep away this plant into the wheat field, क्योंकि अगर ये एक बार grow करना शुरू करेगा, so it will be growing at a very faster rate and all the wheat production will be destroyed. So that was about all 7 kinds of interactions between the populations, and that also brings us to the end of this chapter about understanding organisms and populations. So likewise, if you understood all the 7 interactions of the populations, or उसी के साथ if you understood the entire chapter and want to get some help with other chapters as well, so you can surely be staying with Biophilia. And if you like this video, then don't hesitate to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel, so that would be giving motivation to send more and more videos to help you with your studies. Till the time we come back soon with next chapters and next videos, keep studying, keep smiling. Till then, bye bye everyone. Thank you.